Hi, welcome to the Wei and Kathy show. Today is October 25th. You'll be just having me to be your host today. So I will bring you a feature story on how militia actually is moving into Texas border county to deter illegal immigration. So what exactly happened? So I'll help bring the story to you. And first of all, I will share with you a few headline news for today. So without further ado, let's take a look. So first of all, Fauci pushed back after new documents reveals actually NIH funded virus research in China. So what happened? The National Institute of Health abbreviated as NIH, recently released documents showing that the agency funded research that increased the function of coronavirus and MERS in China, according to the experts. The documents were sent to Congress last week. The head of the NIH, Dr. Francis Collins, and Dr. Anthony Fauci, who heads one of the institutes, told Congress earlier this year that the agency did not fund gain-of-function research, claiming they were not gain-of-function at all. Although Fauci shifted his defense on Sunday, saying that the experiments did not meet the definition of a gain-of-function research of concern. Critics said that the new documents were further proof, calling and Fauci misled the Congress. But Fauci tried to push back. So a key issue in the arguments revolves around how the parties define gain of function, a type of research that generally means increasing a biological agent's transmissibility or pathogenicity. And in the meanwhile, NIH used to have a detailed explanation of gain of function research on its website, noting that the term refers to any research that modifies a biological agent in a way that confers new or enhanced activity to that agent. So we can see on the old website, it does have the gain of function definition, but the explanation was wiped between October 19th and October 21st, which is last week, possibly ahead of NIH's most recent disclosures on October 20th about research it funded in China that increased the potency of a virus by modifying it. An NIH spokeswoman confirmed that the website was altered last week, around the same time the disclosure were made. Next, let's take a look at a former Air War College professor concealing contacts with Chinese officials plead guilty. Zhang Xiaoming, a former civilian professor at the Air War College on Maxwell Air Force Base in Montgomery, Alabama, plead guilty to making false statements to a federal agent, according to the Justice Department statement today. Zhang is a naturalized citizen of Chinese descent and started to teach at the Air War College since 2003. He developed a relationship with a known foreign official of the Shanghai municipal government, who attempted to use him to gain access to sensitive information in his possession and trying to make connections through him with other individuals who might have valuable information. But Zhang lied to FBI and denied the relationship. He faces a maximum of 5 years in prison, as well as being required to give up any government employment, contracts, or security clearances. Next, let's take a look at San Francisco, where Kathy and Wei resides. The recall of San Francisco District Attorney Chesa Boudin likely to head to voters. San Francisco District Attorney Chesa Boudin is likely to face a recall election next year. The committee to recall beat the October 25th, which is today, the submission deadline. submitted approximately 83,000 signatures to the San Francisco Department of Election last Friday. It's roughly 32,000 more than required. So the recall is very likely to reach to voters as early as next June. Chesa Boudin, a former public defender, was elected in November 2019 as part of a wave of progressive prosecutors across the country who want to unwind tough on crime policies that have disproportionately impacted people of color, as they claim. But his policy of soft on crime has backfired. Boudin has been criticized for alleged mismanagement of his office as well in the same time. So actually, this is the second recall effort attempting to remove Boudin from office. And a lot of people may not be aware of that his parents was actually members of underground group, which was infamously did a bombing in the Washington, D.C., and his parents were both jailed. And his father was actually be released on bail by President Biden just very recently. So if the signatures are certified, an election will be held next year as early as June, and the voters would be asked a simple question, yes or no, on whether to keep Boudin in office. If he's ousted, Mayor London Breed would choose a replacement. It is unclear if she will take a position on the recall. In the meanwhile, two prosecutors from the San Francisco District Attorney Office have resigned and are joining the effort to recall their former boss, Chesa Boudin. One of them is Brooke Jenkins, and the other is Dong Du Bang. They said that the reason is because Boudin, quote, has a radical approach that involves not charging crime in the first place and simply releasing individuals with no rehabilitation and putting them in position where they are simply more likely to offend, end quote. They also claim that Boudin disregards the law that he doesn't like and disregard the court decisions that he doesn't like to impose his own version of what he believes is just. Since Chesa Boudin took over the role of the district attorney in January of last year, at least 50 attorneys have left the department, either being fired or quit. Let's take a look at New York. The New York Police Department, one of the, actually not the police department, the largest police department union in the city, which is called the New York Police Benevolent Association, today filed a lawsuit to block a citywide COVID-19 vaccine mandate that is slated to go into effect by October 29th, end of this month. It also filed a request for a temporary restraining order to stop the city and the NYPD from implementing the vaccine requirement while litigation is pending. City workers, including NYPD officers who do not get vaccinated before October 29th deadline, will be placed on unpaid leave and face termination from their jobs, according to a mayor's order. Then let's turn to Florida. What's Florida Governor Ron DeSantis doing? He announced that he is now actively working to recruit out-of-state police officers who have been fired or placed on unpaid leave due to their city's vaccination mandate. He said he will seek to create legislation that will reward a $5,000 bonus to such police officers who relocate to the Sunshine State. He called on police officers in NYPD, Minneapolis, and Seattle to move to Florida and promised to treat them much better. Finally, let's turn to Texas, the border. The Biden administration refused Governor Greg Abbott's appeal that the federal government reimburse Texas for millions of dollars spent responding to the migration crisis at the southern border. It was Texas governor's second request. The governor in September sent the first letter urging the federal government to honor Texas's disaster status and pay for the higher than normal state and the local operations on the basis that the border security is a federal responsibility. Governor Abbott said that he has sent thousands of National Guard members and the state police to the border since Operation Lone Star, a program that he initiated, has launched in March. But the federal administration rejected his first claim. Governor Abbott appealed, and the decision appealed this decision early this month. But the Federal Emergency Management Agency again denied the request to approve Texas' emergency declaration. Texas officials are bracing for a possible rush of more than 60,000 Haitian migrants just weeks after thousands of Haitians arrived in the border town of Del Rio in Texas. So that leads to our feature story of today. So the border situation actually is so dire that even they ask for malicious help. So what exactly happened? Let's move on to a safe chat for those who are still on YouTube channel. So, what's the broader situation here? According to the new Custom and Border Protection (CPB) statistics, Border Patrol agents apprehended a total of listen to this,